here's what I love about wholesaling. Okay, I love wholesaling for the fact that you can do it virtually. There's very little risk involved when you're wholesaling, and you get paid up front. So like in the world of real estate, you learn to respect getting paid up front. And so what that means is once I get a property under contract and I then wholesale it over to somebody else and they close on it, then I get paid right then and there. My job is done. I get paid and I'm over it. As opposed to the person that was going to rehab it, they have to go through the renovation process and then sell it to then hopefully make a profit. Okay, so they have 3 or 4 or 5, 6 months of waiting to actually realize a profit. Not on the wholesalers. We get paid up front. We love it, and there's some scale here. So. Especially now with today's technology, and that's really kind of why this virtual wholesaling is such a buzzword, is because with today's technology, and it's all now common technology, we can absolutely do it virtually easily. Okay, and that's exactly what I'm going to walk you guys through here. It's really, really exciting stuff. Okay, so let's get on to the next slide. Here's the wholesaling overview. What we do in the overview is we gather information from sellers. We get to know the property in the best detail we can right from the phone. Okay, that's the kind of the key to virtual wholesaling, is really getting good at the phone conversation, the intake of all that information, building that rapport with the client, and really kind of understanding how to dig deeper into their motivation levels. Okay, then we negotiate the contract, and we control the rights to sell that contract. Okay, so here's something I want to make sure we're really, really clear about, because there is an illegal way to wholesale and there is a legal way. We are only going to be talking about the legal way to wholesale. Okay, I want to make sure that's very clear. Never, ever, 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 ever would I ever recommend anything that is outside of the realm of legal. We always want to be legal, compliant, and straight above board on all levels. Okay, so just make sure that you play that way. But here's a nuance, and this is kind of something that catches people up, and you can have all the right intentions in the world and make a slip up that would make your wholesale activity illegal. Okay, so I want to quickly go over that really, really quickly here, just because I want to kind of set the context of this, because I'm going to be pointing it out as we go through the training. But so the key to wholesaling and making it legal without a license. Okay, so if you're not a licensed professional and you want to wholesale, great, that's wonderful. That is perfect for you. Okay, now what is illegal is to sell real estate without a license. Okay, now this is where the confusion becomes. It's illegal to sell real estate without a license. Okay, so what are we doing as a wholesaler? Kind of seems like we're selling real estate without a license. So how is this legal, and what are we doing here? Okay, this is what you really have to understand. As a wholesaler, when you are doing it legally, you are not selling real estate exactly to the terms of the way they define it in this the other definition over here. What we are doing is we get a property under contract. Okay, the key is getting a property under contract. That means that there is a signed purchase and sale agreement. I made the offer, they accepted the offer, and therefore we have a legally binding purchase and sale agreement, totally executed, ready to go. Okay, that is step one. Now you can sell your rights to that contract to somebody else for a profit. Okay, again, I have it under contract. I have control over the property via contract. We have a signed purchase and sale agreement. I can now sell my rights to that purchase and sale agreement for a profit. I'm selling a contract. Okay, The key is that I have it under contract. Therefore, that makes it so I can sell that contract. Okay, that is wholesaling. Now, where people will kind of like, whoops, on this topic is if you are like, okay, hey, I'm talking with a seller. The seller said that they would take $200 for the offer price, and you're thinking, cool, $200 works. I don't have it under contract. I just have a verbal understanding. I think the $200 number works. It sounds good. They already agreed to it. I do not have it under contract. I have a verbal understanding with the seller. But then maybe if I were to go then tell somebody else about that property and say, hey, this seller will take $200. Are you interested in buying it? This is illegal. I am now trying to sell that piece of real estate to somebody else without having a contract signed. No contract, just verbal. Oh, they would take $200. Hey, let me go try to find somebody that would pay $210 and maybe I can make the difference. That is illegal. Do not do that. Okay? You have to have it under contract, signed, everybody signed around on a legally binding purchase and sale agreement in order for you to then sell it. Okay? I just want to make sure that that's so clear. If you have any questions, ask in the comments below, please, because I want to make sure that everybody stays legally compliant through all of this process. Okay. Now, we're also going to go through the process of cashing your check and then how to rinse and repeat this whole process. Okay. So this is something that once you get into this rhythm, this process of wholesaling can just be like clockwork. Boom, 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 boom. That's what we're going to be talking about. Okay. So the first thing that you're really going to want to understand is what is the difference between an assignment and a double close. So if you've done any research on wholesaling so far, leading into this class right now, you'll likely know that there's two different ways of closing a wholesale. And it's really important to understand the differences between the two and why one would apply versus the other one. Okay, there's not a right or wrong per se. It's just you kind of want to understand why you would want to do one way or why you'd want to go the other way. Okay, again, they both work. It's not a right or a wrong. It's just which one is best for you and your strategy. Okay, so the first one that I want to talk about is the assignment. Okay, you've already kind of heard me talk about this a little bit, is the assignment of an agreement. So if I am going to get a property under contract and I have a signed purchase and sale agreement between myself and the seller, then I can assign that contract over to somebody else for a profit. Wholesale that over to a profit. Okay, it's very simple. It's a one-page agreement that sits on top of the purchase and sale agreement. Okay, so it's just, here's the purchase and sale agreement that's sitting in escrow. And then this assignment agreement will go right on top of it as soon as it's executed. And that just simply releases my interest into that contract and brings it over to the end buyer. Okay, so that's just an assignment process. It's very common. There's no fees, and it's literally just filling out a one-page assignment agreement, which I'm going to go over in this training, and boom, you're done. And you've just assigned your rights over to the end buyer. Okay. Now this is different than the double close. Okay. The double close, that applies in a scenario where you will actually perform on the contract. So if I have a signed purchase and sale agreement between the seller and myself, then in a double close scenario, I will actually close, buy that property. Okay. So I have to have the funds to buy that property. And then I'm going to sell it to somebody else that same day. Okay. Oftentimes the same day. It doesn't have to be the same day. That's not a technical barrier here. But the double close act is like you close on it for $200 at noon, and then you sell that same property for $210 at 2:00 in the afternoon. Okay. So at noon you owned it. So at noon you bought it, and then at 2:00 p.m. you sold it. So it's like boom, boom, two transactions happen. Okay. And there's two different prices. Okay. So that's a double close. I bought it from you at $200 and then I closed it, but I have a contract executed for you to buy it at $210, and bingo, bango. I get the difference. So we were going to be going through why would you want to do one or the other? So the double close, the main reason why people would gravitate towards doing a double close is it does protect privacy. Okay, and when you sign an assignment agreement, the profit to the wholesaler is acknowledged on that contract. It's like, okay, I see that you're assigning this contract over for $10,000 or $5,000 or $50,000. Whatever it is in the assignment agreement, it shows. Okay, so everybody, it's all above board and everybody understands. Okay, no, nothing wrong with that, right? That could be fine. Except for sometimes when you want your profit to be private. If you don't want either the seller that you just negotiated with and or the end buyer that you're going to go over there, if you don't want anybody, either one, to know how much you're going to make in this process, then a double close is the best way to do that. It is the way to do that. Okay, so this is like, okay, I'm going to close at 200 with the seller, okay, and then I'm going to sell it to the end buyer at 250, as an example. Okay, so I bought it at 200, and then that same day I sold it for 250 to the end buyer. Okay, so would the seller, would they love it if I would just made 50 grand profit right away just by selling it to somebody else? Probably not. I mean, like, they got what they agreed to, and that's fine what it is. But, if you wanted to just kind of keep it very clean and precise, like, yep, we did that transaction, boom, it's all settled. Then, bam, I sell it to somebody else. This person that I'm selling it to, they don't know how much I just sold it for over here. Okay, they just know that they agreed to buy it at 250. This person over here, they know they agreed to sell it for 200. We did that. And then this person over here, they agreed to pay 250. And so therefore we did that. Now that the difference between 200 and 250, that goes to the wholesaler. Okay. So again, it's a little bit more complicated because they are two different closings, but they're clean closings, meaning like I purchased it. I did everything there. I purchased it. Then I'm doing the same over here. Two different clean closings. All parties have privacy. Nobody gets to know one way or the other. And the other thing about these types of closings are this is what works with short sales. Okay, so if you're ever doing short sales, or frankly, if you are oftentimes if you're working with real estate agents, okay, if your property that you're trying to wholesale is listed, oftentimes you're going to have to do double closes on listed properties. And that's just because the realtors, they're not going to like an assignment agreement over here, and it muddies up all the waters. So anything that's listed and or is a short sale, those are the transactions that we almost always do a double close on. Okay, those two ingredients. Now, again, if it were just a direct to seller to me contract, assigning that, doing one piece of paperwork to assign that to somebody else, that is simple. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. We'll be diving into this a little bit in greater detail here in a bit, but that is the scenarios where you would really want to concentrate on the double close, the short sale, and if it's listed. Okay.